Teddy Swims, I tried everything but therapy. Huge album, longest consecutive climb to number one, 32 weeks.
Wow.
Debuted at 99 and then went to number one and is still on the charts. Your stage name is Teddy Swims. And what does Swims stand for and why Teddy?
I've been called Teddy my whole life, and Swim stands for someone who I massage sexually.
We can cut that.
No, it's someone who isn't me sometimes. It's kind of it started out as actually Swims. I was gonna be Swims, and somebody just slapped Teddy in front of it because I've always been called that, and it kind of stuck that way. And here we are.
All right, I read that not only you love football, you played football, but also, and this is usually this doesn't go together, but performed in musicals in high school. My daughter does a lot of musicals. She's 16. What was your favorite role?
So my best friend in the world, Jesse, who I've been playing with forever, still plays guitar with me and writes with me. We did Rent my senior year, and I got to play Roger, and he got to play my best friend, Mark, and so it was great to do that with him. Rent's my favorite musical. I could play every character in that thing. I love that stuff.
That's awesome. And if you could play any role in any future musical down the road, what would it be, or what play would you want to be in?
I would love to play. Maybe Rodemaeus, Aida would be it's always been a dream role of mine, but again, now that I look like this, it's a little more difficult. I kind of am specific roles. I could probably still play Roger Rent since he was a rock star, but I'm kind of pinned to maybe like kitchen worker or drug dealer at this point. You know what I mean? Or parolee or something.
Right. That's awesome. Now, very few people are overnight sensations. People become aware of somebody and they think, oh, well, they just started last week or they started last year. And of course, that's not the case for you, just like everyone else. Did you ever think about quitting? And also, do you think COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise for you where you were able to do covers and more people discovered you online?
Yeah, I never got to a point of quitting. This was all I ever wanted to entertain and be in. I used to be in bands with guys that would be like, this is my last shot at this. This is my last time. If this doesn't work, I'm done. And my answer would always be like, I think you should just go ahead and stop now. If you're going to give this up, you have one more chance to get it right and get it to happen, and whatever it happening means, because as somebody who's here now, I can tell you it still hasn't happened. I'm grateful for where I am, but you always want more and more and more, and are having sights on bigger things. And so I think if there's ever that moment in your life where you're like, it's got to be either this or nothing for it to truly work, I think, and what was the other part of the question you just asked me?
Do you think COVID was a blessing in disguise for you?
Yeah, I think so, because I was so lucky during that time that, me and my band, and we were all living in a house together, and right before COVID happened, we were able to record our own music and film our own videos and distribute our own merch and write and sing and play all the time together. So we were kind of stuck in a house together, 12 of us in this 5-bedroom house. We were built plyboard walls up and made it into an 8-bedroom house. And so during the COVID, during the whole COVID, the pandemic, we moved out of that house and built a warehouse in Atlanta. And we were in a place that we were all kind of quarantined together all the time, but there was 12 of us who were always quarantined, and we had the means of recording and filming and all the stuff together. So I think in that time where a lot of people weren't able to do anything, it was a real prime time for us to stay together and keep working and cooking and being able to put out things. And so I think that was a huge, I also think too, the biggest blessing of it is that, there was so much times then where I wanted it now, and I wish I could have been touring, and I wanted everything right now, and you get impatient. And I think the best thing about having it now is that I'm truly ready, and I think timing is such a beautiful thing, because if I would have got it then, I think I would have been too small-minded or young, or maybe sent it straight to my liver, you know what I mean, and made
Right.
some bad choices, and so I'm grateful for the man that I am now, and the time that I had to really, and the slow burn of this thing that, again, feels like maybe to some people that's overnight, but it's been such a slow burn. And so I've been able to slowly kind of progress and get more and more comfortable and used to this, rather than just kind of being thrown into a spotlight, which has been a huge blessing for me.
Yes, timing is everything. It's hard when you're in the midst of something and want something so bad. And then looking back is when you see that. The song "The Door" is about being abused by your ex. It's very rare to hear a man openly discuss being abused by a woman, although it's important. Why did you feel it was important to speak out?
Well, I think the biggest thing about that song too, and it was so crazy when I was at a writing camp and we were writing that song, "Lose Control," and most of the album, and it was kind of like, there's when you're fighting for something for so long and you're waiting for somebody to change so long that you put all this effort, this fight into it for years, and you expect this person to change, and there's always a glimmer of hope that they always come give you just enough to keep you there. And the biggest thing is that, like, when you're in that position, when you give up, you feel like all that fighting has been in vain. And so there's something that always keeps you there fighting and wanting better for the person you love or yourself. And I think it's very hard to ever find that, I guess, that straw that breaks the camel's back, that last thing that's just finally you say it's over and get them out of your life. And that was the hardest thing for me to do. And it was so weird when we were recording that song. I was writing the song just from my heart, and I remember still being in that relationship, and I was so numbing myself at the time with alcohol and substances that I didn't even quite realize until after the song came out and I was out of that situation, and I listened back to the song, and I was like, it was like my heart was telling me to get out of this situation for so long. And so much in that album I was talking about things that I guess subconsciously my brain was writing that I needed to get out of this situation, and I wasn't even there for myself, and now I look back and hear it and listen to it, and I totally wish I would have listened to my own advice in a way, and the people around me that were trying to be good to me and tell me to get out of that. And so I think what's beautiful about that song is as we celebrate that song and we close with that song now, there's so many people that are going through that like trauma, that have been through that situation, and it's so beautiful to take something like that was such a situation of turmoil and kind of repurpose it into like a celebration amongst so many other people with like-minded trauma, and so now we all get to dance around and sing that song and kind of yell about our past and really celebrate that trauma together that we all experienced together. And it's such a beautiful thing to turn that into I guess a celebration, but also success, because there's no better revenge than success, and all the love in the world to her. There's no bad blood there, but it just wasn't meshing, and so I'm grateful to be on the other side of it, truly.
And I'll probably cut this when I play it, but like I've been through that with an ex where I as a man, I didn't know what to do. Like, she was abusive towards me, and I was just like, I was embarrassed to tell people, and I didn't know like what to do about it.
That's a very tough thing too, because there is, in the world, women go through it so much more, almost every woman I probably imagine goes through that at some point in their life, and it's such a horrible thing. And I have nothing but absolute love and respect for women in general. I thank God as a woman. I think my mother's the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'm in such a beautiful relationship with a beautiful woman now. And but I think there's some respect that I will always give to her for whatever happened and being abusive. I understand where she was at and where she's coming from, and I know a lot of that comes from trauma. I think a lot of that for her was that she was treated that way in a long time in relationships she was in with men and who treated her this way. And I think there was a lot of self-sabotaging that happened when she got something good, and that kind of turned it into kind of acting the same way. Like the patience she would give those men who would abuse her ended up being very little patience for me, and a lot of things like fears and stories she'd tell herself that I'm out here doing this or that when in fact I wasn't. And I think it was just a response to the trauma or a self-sabotaging thing to think that she could have something good, and maybe it spun her out a bit. I don't know, but all the love to her. And it's definitely a hard situation to have gone through, but to be on the other side, I have nothing but love and respect, and I truly owe her the world, because that made me a millionaire. So
Speaking of being a millionaire, right? We have a couple more questions. You're making money, you're successful. What was your first big splurge? Like, this is awesome.
I still, other than food, I always, when I go out with my crew, no matter what, you work here, I always take care of drinks and food, and I spend a lot of money on food and drink, but there's no better way to spend it than on camaraderie. And I mean, of course, like gear. I love buying music gear. But I think I haven't really done like a lot of big splurging yet. You know, the first thing I did when I got signed was buy my dad a truck. I got him a big F-150 Lariat, and that was like the first thing because we used to always break down, and I had to buy him that. And I got myself one of those like 2023 last year. I got me a Bronco, and I was like, I've always wanted a Bronco, so I got the new Bronco. You know, with a Raptor engine in it. It's kick ass, man. And when Lose Control went #1, me and my manager Luke, he's my best pal, we bought each other some Cartier tanks, and so that's one of like nicest classic watches. You know?
Right,
so,
right.
But that's really kind of all I'm still so used to like in a place of not having money, so I still like I'm kind of always I'm still trying to get used to the lifestyle of it. I mean, I love to buy clothes, obviously, but I'm still getting used to it, you know. And I also do know that no matter what, you know, I'm one decision away from all of this not being, or one circumstance away from all of this not being here. And so I cherish it, but also, you know, of course, like to splurge, but like to hold tightly as well. And just take care of people around me is all I want to do.
That's great. You're very thoughtful. It's been really great interviewing you. Okay, this last question is dumb, but other than you, who is your favorite Teddy of all time? Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy Pendergrass, or Teddy Ruxpin?
I'll say Pendergrass for sure. Yeah, certainly.
Do you know who Teddy Ruxpin is?
I know that name. Who is Teddy Ruxpin?
It's a teddy bear that used to talk like in the 90s,
old.
80s.
Oh,
So
yeah, I know Teddy Ruxpin. He kicks ass too.
I had people advise me not to ask it, like he won't know. But
No, I know that name. I certainly know the name.
Well, Teddy, we're so happy for your success and like getting to talk to you just for these few moments. You see you're a thoughtful person and grateful person, and thank you for being kind. I think it goes a long way. You know, I was nervous coming in, and that your graciousness, I think, is going to serve you well going forward.
Hey man, it's a lot easier to be kind than it is to be an asshole. That's for sure. Can I say asshole? Is that okay?
Sure.
Or butthead, rather. You know, whatever. But yeah, it's so easy to be kind, man. I'm just my daddy's son, man. He taught me well.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, you're awesome, dude. That was